The New York Mets have promoted right-hand pitcher Nolan McLean, MLB's top 100, number 30 ranked prospect in all of baseball, and the New York Mets number 3 prospect. Not only has he dominated down in AA, he's dominated down in AAA. We're going to break down his stats and what makes him so special next on Metcast. What's going on, Mets fans? As always, I am Ray, and welcome back to another episode of Metcast, as we're going to be breaking down Nolan McLean and what he's going to mean for this Major League roster. But before we get to that, do me a favor, smash that like button, become a subscriber, and consider becoming a member of the channel to be guaranteed to get your chats read live on every single post game. And we were so lucky last night, over 2,000 Mets fans came in with us and vented about how this team has been doing. And there is no secret. The failures of Clay Holmes, the failures of Frankie Montas, the failures of Sean Manaea, all these guys that were paid combined over $50+ million this season have been an utter disappointment. But that's enough with that. We are here today to discuss the New York Mets number 3 ranked prospect, Nolan McLean. And Nolan McLean has been dominating down in AA. And one thing that's really interesting, David Stearns came out and said in regard to Brandon Sproat last season, and even this season, he got promoted and he wanted to see him fail prior to coming to the big leagues. But Nolan McLean has been so dominant, not only in AA, in AAA, that he hasn't experienced really any failure. But I want to get to his stats. Let's give it a look. So here we have it, the 24-year-old right-hander for our New York Mets, standing 6'2", 214 pounds, Nolan McLean, out of right there, Willow Springs, North Carolina. The New York Mets drafted him just 2 years ago in the 3rd round, 91st overall out of Oklahoma State, where he dominated not only as a pitcher, but he's also a hitter. He was a two-way player, one of the first that the New York Mets drafted. But let's take a look at his 2024 stats. 21 games pitched, 2.45 ERA with 127 strikeouts. What I like to look at in the minor league system isn't always about the strikeouts when it comes to these pitchers. It's simply about the whip, because it tells you what kind of command they have of the strike zone. And his whip is very good, coming out at 1.13. Very solid. And his entire career, you go back, this is his 2nd year, 48 games, 12-15. You don't really want to take the record into account that much. A 3.10 ERA, which means he's clearly gotten better even this year with 245 strikeouts, but that great 1.91 whip. And you see, I mean, he's gotten promoted fairly quickly in regard to the New York Mets. You can see right there, he's here today. He is here. He's hopefully going to be throwing hard, but I want to get to his stats in regard to what MLB scouts think of him over at MLB Pipeline and why I think he's going to be so successful at the major league level. So here is Nolan McLean coming up through the Mets farm system. Obviously, we already said it, the number 3 prospect in the system, and this is why scouts love him so much, because we've seen it time and time again. Frankie Montas throws 96, 97. He gets hit. Same thing with Clay Holmes when he's coming out of the pen, 96, 97. He gets hit. We all just watched Ryan Helsley's 103.5-mile-an-hour fastball get hit. It's about movement and placement, and that's where Nolan McLean shines. He's got a 55 grade fastball, which is slightly above average. A curveball that is a 55 grade, also slightly above average. But that is the pitch that scouts are raving about. The RPMs on his slider / sweeper are off the charts, a 70 grade, which is above all-star level potential, Hall of Fame, dare I say, type of grade on a pitch right there. And then he's got a cutter to plate it off as well as above average. The changeup obviously needs some working on, and his control, that's what has kept him down in the minors. But here's what MLB.com has to say in regard to him. McLean intended to play both baseball and softball, both sides of the ball at Oklahoma State, but ultimately chose to focus on the former, obviously pitching as we've seen. The 3rd round pick in 2022 did not sign him after a concerning MRI on McLean, returned and posted a 9.11 OPS as a hitter. Don't forget that, with a 3.30 ERA. It's kind of going to go through his whole college pedigree. But now, with his focus solely on the mound, McLean could be cleared for Major League takeoff this season. As we've seen, he just got called up. Fastball averaging 94 to 96 while topping out at 98. And that's one thing that's going to be interesting to see today and going on. That adrenaline, what does that do for a guy like Nolan McLean? Is he going to come out overthrowing, or is he going to be cool, calm, and collected? You'll know based off of that first fastball that he throws. Is it going to be 98, 99, or is he going to be sitting around that 95 range, which we've seen him sit at AA and AAA this season? But then they go on to talk about his slider. He gets ample arm slide movement, as we've spoken about the RPMs on the slider as well, leading to heavy ground ball rates. The real monster, his 84 to 87 mile per hour slider or slash sweeper, a pitch that is elite spin, something that we just spoke about, in horizontal movement, averaging around 15 to 16 inches with the Syracuse in AAA. Think about that. 15 to 16 inches of break. This kid, that's what's going to take him to be either an elite pitcher or not elite pitcher. We'll see. Some scouts project him to be a number 2, number 3 starter at this level. And then other scouts that I've spoken to say, you know what, he might become one of the best elite bullpen arms in the game. So hopefully it's the former, because we lack starting pitching. When you go up and down this New York Mets pitching staff, it's the same issue over and over again. Everybody's in their 30s. Clay Holmes, Frankie Montas, Sean Manaea, David Peterson's right there. You go up and down. The Mets need to get younger, and it's going to be up to Nolan McLean, Brandon Sproat, and Jonah Tung. And that's what I got for you guys in regard to Nolan McLean. It's going to be pivotal. And one thing I want to stress to Mets fans, so many fans think he's going to come in, be the Matt Harvey, be the Jacob deGrom, be the Noah Syndergaard, be the Zach Wheeler, and I think those are unfair expectations. He's not here to be the savior. But if you're telling me he's going to come here and average a 3.5 to 3.75 ERA, we as Met fans need to take it. Sean Manaea last night was horrible. Think about all the awful starts we've gotten. We just need somebody to consistently go 5 innings. Even Kodai Senga, who has been off. So hopefully he comes up, he's effective, and then Brandon Sproat follows him. A lot of Mets fans have been asking, Ray, is Jonah Tung going to be coming up this year? From everybody that I've spoken to, I think there's almost a 0% chance we see Jonah Tung this year. He's young, still unproven at the AAA level, just got there, and if we've learned anything about David Stearns, he likes to have his pitchers sit down in the minor leagues, have success and failures before bringing them up. Remember, when Brandon Sproat first got promoted, a lot of Mets fans were calling for him to go right to the major league level from AA. Went to AAA, struggled mightily early on, but has been utter dominant lately. So hopefully he might be the next guy to contribute as September call-ups. Remember, the Mets could add an additional pitcher in just a couple of weeks. Maybe around that time is when we get to see Brandon Sproat. But let's hope that Nolan McLean is the answer, at least for the middle part of this rotation. I don't have crazy expectations, but I think he could be a very serviceable pitcher at this level. And again, the Mets don't have any pitchers that are in their early to mid-20s in this rotation. And that is a recipe for disaster. But that's all I got for you guys. Please give us a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. And as always, let's go Mets.